Alright, I really need to, like, get consistent on this. Like, I guess that is the benefit of being a very, very small YouTuber. I don't really have to hold myself to a schedule of uploading, because it's not like there's many people that are going to watch anyway. I'm not the only podcast that I'm sure you can find, so... If you'd even call it... You'd only call it a podcast by technicality, because I'm not really talking to anyone. And podcasts usually don't have gameplay in the background. There's just usually just a live video feed of people talking, just like an internet talk show, because that's exactly what it is. I said popcorn's for a lot of that. My body tends to have weird reactions to things that I put in it. Like that, excuse me. I haven't had any drink in an hour yet. Suddenly I just erupted from the mouth. Which is the proper terminology for that. I don't remember what the point standings is. Point standings are, because I never looked. Hi, Dexter. Oh, the slowest car is on pole. Second slowest. I forgot Phineas is in a dud of a BMW. Because there weren't very many orange cars left. I know the top four are, wait, no. See, because I've been doing these sort of things as, like, fantasy leagues with friends, and some of the drivers in those leagues are drivers that are here. I.e., like, the Powerpuff Girls are in there, and, Wreck-It Ralph and even LP are also in there, but I keep forgetting in which championships each or whatever driver is doing well, and for a second I thought that Buttercup was doing well on this one. Because she's doing well in another one that we're doing. But I don't know if she's doing well in this one or not, I don't remember. I have to look after the race. And there you go. The next one would be either Ferb or SpongeBob, because I know Ferb got a pretty good start off the line. Jimmy Neutron, why are you defensively driving? There's no point against him. He is in a much better car. And Ralph uses this opportunity to maybe surprise Samurai Jack. Uses all of the curb. Samurai Jack with a little distaste bump, but nothing terribly rude. Meanwhile, at the back, it is a conga line, because Bubbles is blocking literally everyone, as well as Phineas. Though Phineas isn't nearly as effective at it as Bubbles probably will be later. As here comes Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and Buttercup shouldn't be far away. Well, Phineas just sort of covered her off. I don't think she liked that too much. Back at the front, we have nothing. Still nothing. A bit aggressive from Lilo and Stitch there. While there was never any contact, Bubbles didn't really give Lilo and Stitch a lane there. Doofenshmirtz tries to take advantage, but instead Buttercup takes advantage of him, taking advantage of them. These three are still on top of each other. I do believe these three are pretty relevant in the point standings, and I think one of Isabella or Ferb are the points leader, if I remember right. SpongeBob is not so much, however. Nor do I think are Samurai Jack or Ralph. I feel like Buttercup would be doing well with the card she has. I mean, she's no 16 Angels, but even still in the same car, 16 Angels has been able to pull off pretty good results, even against cars that were considerably better than his, i.e. Act 2 and 3, and like 8. Where 16 Angels can usually pull off at least one win per act because his car has some pretty good power. Speaking of power, Ferb's car does not have so much of that. Dexter, you're gonna have to get a little aggressive here. You can't get out of last if you don't try and pass anyone. That isn't how it works. Buttercup has gone around her little baby sister. Don't tell her I called her that. Lilo once again is in the sand. It's not the beach, and now Buttercup will relieve you of that place. These three are still in a conga line, but too evenly matched. Ferb would probably be faster around one lap, but he doesn't have the power to get around him. Likewise, Vanellope has the acceleration, but doesn't have the top speed to clear Isabella, nor does she have the nerve. And Isabella is just putting herself firm in the middle of the track most of the time, except for the time where it's most important to. Well, I'm saying that she's been doing it, and there she goes. And during all of this, SpongeBob, Ralph, and Samurai Jack have come to join the party, so we have, in essence, although probably not in practice, a 6-way battle for the lead. I guarantee you there will be no more passing from here, but the concept is great. Buttercup has, I'm assuming, just passed Jimmy Neutron for 7th. So if this performance is anything to go by, then yes, Buttercup has been performing rather well in this act. I just can't remember it very well. Buttercup would know about not remembering if any Fusion Fall fan happens to play this. Or watch this, which I could probably share it, but I don't think anyone in Discord that I'm in for that game would actually give a flying rat's buttress. So, bye, Jack. So I might have been wrong. There may be passing still. And I think there will be. Ooh, my word, these two. Ralph, you don't want to be sitting there when you get to the turn, man. No one ever gives anyone room here. Or you know, you had room there. That was just you not turning right. These four still basically stacked like Jenga bricks on top of each other. If this race gone on for were to go on for a considerably long time, like 8 or 9 laps, I think Lilo and Stitch and Buttercup would probably catch the leaders. But this race doesn't go on for that long. I ain't got all night. SpongeBob, I believe, has the fastest lap. Yeah. And also apparently the worst braking. Isabella seems relatively helpless when it comes to sticking with Vanellope at this point. She just has to try and keep Ferb behind her. Somewhere down the line, Dexter got 2 for 1. He got Timmy and Phineas, and yeah, might also be getting Bubbles right here. Maybe not. Bubbles was intrepid under brakes, and Dexter, I think, was confused there for a second. He was like, "Aww." I was wrong. Ralph does. Samurai Jack, where are you going, my dude? That isn't where the road is. I don't know what in the world that was. A foolish warrior! That's what that was. Okay, Lilo and Stitch just yoinked the heck out of the fastest lap. Destroyed that lap. And Buttercup is also pretty fast. Unfortunately, this is not a 10-lap race. She might get to up behind Ralph. Don't think she's gonna get around any of them though, unless one of them runs the other off the road. Which, we're already through turn 4. Yeah, turns 4 and 5, so the odds of that are not nearly as high anymore. Ferb still firmly parked on her rear bumper, but being down on power compared to her, can't really get around her. Samurai Jack has SpongeBob's attention, but SpongeBob is able to take the better line out of the turn, and Samurai Jack just chickens out. Will Ralph have something to say about that decision? He indeed will. And he speaks volumes about what he will do, which is pass. Duh. So they have indeed gotten there, but with 2 corners to go, Buttercup can't exactly pass them, I don't think. Or she'll try. I mean, I guess she can try, but it didn't work. You have nowhere to go. Not to mention they out-accelerate you, so yeah, no more positions for you. So Vanellope won. Ferb couldn't ever get around Isabella. And Blossom with the last points place. Phineas, you deserve better than this car. I don't know why in my right mind I thought this was even remotely balanced. It wasn't great. It's the blatant news. Okay, so, yeah. Previously on Act 15, Buttercup was actually dominating. And only because of Vanellope's win did it really close up a lot. Because otherwise, Vanellope had 42 before. To what would be Buttercup's, like, 50-ish, 55. Might actually be 57, I don't remember. Because 7th would get you 4 points. 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah. Only 4 points. So Buttercup had what Vanellope has now. The 15-point lead. And now it's down to 4 after a less than impressive event. So, I guess Blossom won't be scoring this round. Buttercup probably not either. But for Ferb, the outlook is positive. Starting to really didn't like the Powerpuff Girls, did it? Isabella immediately takes 2 places off the start. Man, Penelope just didn't get a lane there at all. Buttercup still hasn't passed anyone yet. Jimmy and Timmy power armor. This is not Fallout. Power hour into 4, turn 4. I forgot how to count for a second. We've taken 4 corners, and not 5. How did I already forget what corner we were on? Okay, this seems like it's a bit of a slower paced event, as Vanellope just about wrecks somebody around the corner. Lilo and Stitch has already made up 3 places. I think it would be Stitch driving, wouldn't it? I feel like it would be, because Leo would... Nice spasm. Lilo, I don't think it'd be legal. Granted, it wouldn't be legal for an alien dog either, but I don't think you can really prosecute him for it. Well, Samurai Jack had the lead, but Ferb swiftly extricated that. He's ready. He's ready. He's ready. Now, the glory of racing with 15 different cartoon characters. If you know the cartoons well enough, you can make a ton of references to them. Though there are some that are easier to make them to than others. Honestly, most of that's actually just the Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob, which I didn't watch Fairly Odd Parents all that much. I hate when I do that. So Vanellope's already gained 3 spots on the first lap. Isabella has not gained. Ferb's moved 1. Rocket Ralph dropped 5 places. Lilo and Stitch moved up 3. Doof gained 2. And Buttercup is in last. All of the girls are in the back. Come on, girls. Seriously. You guys are better than this. Buttercup, you're leading points. You don't really have an excuse here. You should at least be ahead of your sisters in their inferior Porsches. Yeah, just use Phineas as a pick. Just have him get in one of their ways. Get in the way of one of them. Okay, this isn't actually ideal because he's in your way, not Bubbles. So on the map, looks like Lilo and Stitch tried to tango with Ralph, but his acceleration was having none of it. Ralph is apparently desperate to get a buffer between him and Lilo and Stitch, but in doing so has actually just kind of lost him a place. Isabella has now passed the boy genius, well, one of them anyway. Dexter also calls himself that, so that's a wee bit awkward. Doofenshmirtz is about to actually get Isabella. Or not. Jimmy's actually attacked Doofenshmirtz to try and keep the place, at least for the moment. Phineas has, of course, once again dropped to the back. Buttercup's still unable to put it into her mind that she can pass her own sisters. Fur barely faster in that lap. 3/10 over the Samurai Warrior. Penelope has caught up to SpongeBob, but I don't think they were that close to the end of the last lap. And she's brought some company with, in the shape of Ralph, Stitch, and Dexter, who just got absolutely mugged into that turn. Ralph, I'm guessing down either the long straightaway or into the chicane somehow, had at one point passed him, and then has lost the place again. But that acceleration on this car just yoinked it right on back. It seems that Ferb is definitely gaining a lot of ground on these two here. Potentially Penelope could have the speed to stay with them if she were up there, but being, if I count that right, about 14 seconds away from them, covering that in 2 laps would require like 2-minute 20 lap times almost. Ralph, Stitch, and Penelope are all incredibly close. All of the Disney properties, really, when you think about it, are just closely following SpongeBob. Pretty accurate representation, at least of the early thousands era of SpongeBob. All of the cartoons are following in his tracks. And Penelope has finally cleared him. I was like, am I reading that right? No, I'm not. That does not say Blossom is in 9th. She is in 10th, but not 9th. So Blossom with another point. Unlikely she'll get more, though. She's not all that close to Isabella. But if Isabella gets held up in this new pack she's climbed into, Blossom might be in striking distance. I'm talking mad smack for somebody within crusading distance. All those, I don't know why I love those memes so much. It's a very rather closely packed group up there from like 5th on down. No, 4th on down. Penelope hasn't escaped them yet. Ralph definitely likes these slow speed turns, because as soon as you can get out of them, Ralph will be to 100 miles an hour well before anybody else will. SpongeBob is quickly falling down the order. I didn't think the GTO was that terrible. I figured it'd be able to keep up with these guys, but it just sort of isn't. Milo and Penelope in the sort of classic race cars are definitely mixing it up now. Well, I say classic. This one's from '74, the other one's from 1990. And yet this one really isn't that much worse than the Mercedes is. And Ralph kind of watches from a distance. Now Buttercup has finally found a groove. It is not a new one, nor does it belong to an emperor, but it is a groove. It's not really. It's not a good one either. It just she's passed Bubbles, and that's basically it. Because the other two, Jimmy and Phineas, are kind of gimmies with their cars. She's working on putting something together to get around Doofenshmirtz, but that's not really going to matter because that's not for even any points. She'd have to get around Blossom or Isabella if she's close enough to that for that to be relevant, which she almost is. She might get the Doctor here. I don't mean Dr. Wily or Dr. Eggman or Dr. Cortex. There's a lot of evil doctors in media is in there. I don't know what. Why is it always doctors? Why isn't it veterinary? It's a doctor. Why isn't it that that's also? Forget it. There's so many different kinds of doctors. Doctors. I guess a scientist is really just a. Well, rather a doctor's just a medical scientist. When you think about it, and mad scientist is the even more general terminology for basically like that kind of villain, like Dr. Wily or Cortex. Stitch finally got the better of an LB, and it took her long enough. Blossom is now right on top of Isabella. The in-between girls, as I would usually call them, because they're kind of like the kind of mixture of the three kind of personalities that really are in the Powerpuff Girls. You know, smart, cute, and tough. According to Blossom, she's all three, but Isabella is all three, and she just doesn't, you know, make it as clearly known that she thinks this way. Ralph is now basically in no man's land. SpongeBob is just kind of trying to run away from the girls behind him. Buttercup might have a chance to minimize a bit of damage here, at least. Because regardless of what happens, basically regardless of what happens here, Penelope will take the points lead by like 5, I would say. No, she'll take the points lead, but only by 1 right now, as Blossom is once again robbed of scoring. I mean, she did score last round, but I feel like the other two in the Porsches would be capable of a lot more if the starting grid would ever put them near the front. Lilo and Stitch are once again the fastest on the track, but they also tend to like to start in the back, and even still, they made up 7 places from the start of the race. Buttercup would make up 4 in the end, but given she's the points leader, I feel like she had the ability to probably gain a few more if she just kind of tried. So yeah, by 1, Penelope takes the points lead, and now we have starting grid the race event, so because it's kind of difficult to pass here. So Jimmy Neutron, in the second worst car, other than, like, second to Phineas, worst car in the act, is outscoring Blossom, who has, like, the 10th best car, which, no, it's not good. But if she could start near the front, she could probably still remain in the top 7 or so. It's just the starting grid has determined that that will not happen. Yeah. That didn't feel good. I'm trying to force a cough that wasn't there. And I cannot type right now. So this is awkward because I looked at the clock wrong. I have I'm a weirdo and I have an analog clock in my room. That does not say 3:40, that says 4:40. Sounds like a deranged vacuum cleaner. I also didn't even look at the starting grid. Well, I don't think Vanellope will be keeping that points lead, given she starts 10th here. It's a formula for disaster on like every stretch of the term. Granted, she has already passed 2 people, but Buttercup could not pass Ferb. I don't know if she'll be fast enough to do it later or not. Ferb is pretty rapid. Blossom gained another 2 places of her own off of the start. Well, Phineas isn't a surprise, but she passed Luna and Stitch, which is... Or no, she passed... What? Oh, she passed Timmy Turner. I'm dumb. Lilo and Stitch is right up there. Or Stitch is right up there, not Lilo and Stitch is right up there. That's not grammar. Lilo and Stitch is right there, right on Buttercup's license plate. Which looks awfully European, given that this is an American car. Timmy is not pleased about that, the whole being passed off the line thing. As Phineas defends for his very life, but it does not matter, because he's in a car like this that gets to 140 and stops, pretty much. It would have definitely been ideal if Vanellope and Buttercup started closer to each other. Although at this rate, I think they basically did, because after 1 lap, Vanellope has gained 4 positions and is only 3 more away from being behind Buttercup. And, well, Buttercup has bigger fish to fry as well, with Stitch being right there, just filling up the rearview mirror. Though she does have 2 more to pass, and these 2 aren't exactly gimmies like everyone else before her. Ralph is not doing that great, to be perfectly honest. That's not how you pass here. That is not how you pass here, Ralph. There aren't many ways to do it here, but that is definitely not one. Vanellope is going for it here, almost runs right into Timmy. Some heavy contesting going on here. And I don't think there was really that much of a contest happening. It was just that the dots are close together because that's just how that corner acts. Lilo and Stitch with an opportunity to get around Buttercup, but breaks early, despite having what I would assume would be a big handling advantage, being in a full-blown race car, but I guess not. And Timmy's been stripped of his position, and Vanellope will then just take Blossom and get on with her day. And while she probably still will not retain the points lead after this race, she can at least minimize the losses by being in 4th rather than 10th. This is a very intense race, don't you think? I don't know. Trying to make up for the fact that this is like the most boring track on the schedule, and I don't know why I even put it on there. It would probably make for a good race in real life when you put the human factor, when you put like the kind of human factor into it, not into it. But as it is, as like an AI battle track, it does not really work. Oh. So, this is like, I think I mentioned this before, the different, like, controller just slid off my chair. It could slid into me, and that's the only reason it kind of confused me for a second. I believe I've explained this before, but there are probably three buddies of mine that I could consider to co-commentate over maybe an Act 16 race, or two, or all of them, by chance, if you find them particularly amusing. I keep saying you, and it's not because I'm doing this specifically to please you. It's something that I've kind of thought about a while ago. It makes it sound like it's a video that's like to talk to you, which I mean, I guess in a sense it is. It's more of just you are the only person that I know for a fact will at some point watch the episode. This isn't like Dora the Explorer where I like directly interact with the audience on a minute to minute basis. But I mean, it could be. I'm not asking you to find the gate, so I mean, I guess it wouldn't be as awkward. And Lilo and Stitch is still right there, but I think Buttercup has too much power to just go around down the straightaway. And all of the while, Vanellope is just slowly creeping towards them. I don't know if she's still 5 seconds away from them, like that timer says there, but I don't think she's gonna get there in time. Samurai Jack has closed pretty rapidly to these two as well. It'd be more ironic because if this were Bubbles in front of Timmy Turner and not Blossom. Jack, were you seriously about to try that from there? Gee whiz, about to assassinate him. Okay, so yeah, Lilo has a definitely better corner here. Will it matter? They apparently have the confidence to make it stick. They move over. But, nope. Despite only being 2/10 away, still not close enough. And speaking not close enough, nor is Vanellope to Buttercup or Lilo and Stitch. Samurai Jack has suddenly made Timmy panic a slight amount. He kind of missed the turn there. This is probably a great deal of effort off of Blossom's shoulders here. Not that that's really been a problem before. A lot can go on those shoulders without there being really much of a problem, but you know. Except for apparently flypaper, but that's a story for a different time. Nope, not going anywhere. In a 6 or 7 lap race, Penelope might have gotten there. No, actually in a 7 lap race, she definitely would have gotten there. She is considerably faster than Lilo and Stitch or Buttercup are. Though Ferb has completely dominated this race, and after 2 more corners will definitely be the undisputed winner. But that isn't necessarily the most important thing here. Most important thing is Buttercup will regain the points lead by 3. And Blossom can finally say she's ahead of both of the gimme drivers with another 8 points to add to her total of what is now going to be 13. Ugh. Superstitions intensify, but yes, I am superstitious. Most people don't even know that about me. Oh, okay. My mom and grandma do that, but most other people do not. And Bubbles will take the last point, and I think this might be the first time that all 3 Powerpuff Girls have scored in this act. I think it was a 5-lap race, because Dexter almost took that away from her. Dexter probably actually would have taken that away from her. Dexter did take that away from her, but not in time. And I saw that Ford billboard. The Bill Ford. So yeah, just 3 points. Ferb, with that win, is only another 1 point away from there. Lilo and Stitch, another 8 back from him, and Samurai Jack, only 1 race, 15 points off of Buttercup's score. So in an ideal circumstance, if like Buttercup has another another Silverstone. Also, I told him it was counted, I guess. Blossom did not get to 13. She got to 10. Oh yeah, she only had 4 points before, and you don't get 8 for 5th. You get 6th. So yeah. Still half of Bubbles and 1/7 of Buttercup's points, but she's ahead of the 2 gimmies. Dexter is the leading genius of the, I guess, arguably 4. Though I don't think Blossom is the serviceable genius that, like, Dexter and Jimmy Neutron and Phineas would be. That's not, well, she is the smart one, but she doesn't always put it to complete use in the way that they do. They use it for science and inventions. Blossom uses it to outthink something that's 30 times her size. Well, which you can use it for that anyway, which doesn't always go very well, but that's beside the point. So yeah, the problem with recording this, well, A, I have to record late at night because no one can hear me. It'll just sweep through my voice. B, I tend to do a lot of late night games with friends. And C, well, in the case of yesterday, my Wi-Fi was down from midnight to 5. The time frame where I would record it. Great. So that was a real pain in the neck. But even if that weren't the case, I probably would have been playing with them anyway, because they were on all night. And kind of wondering where the hell I went. So luckily it didn't happen today. But that is going to be this episode. Episode 3, or the end of episode 3 of Act 15. Next we get definitely some of the more interesting races here. And also just remember that every race in this is 5 laps, I think. Yeah, every race is 5 laps.